What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about Lucid. Things are heating up. I want to break it down, what is causing all of this momentum, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid's up 2.25%, 1305 the low, 1345 the high, but very low volume. So 2.1 million shares being traded, 9.6 is the average. When it comes to all of this hype, it is stemming from good data. So early this morning, we did have mortgage applications as well as mortgage market index. So it came in the applications at 0.2, previous was negative, so that was last week. And then the mortgage market index came in at 317. So this is very good stuff. Over and above that, we did also have initial jobless claims coming in at 216 versus a forecast of 224. This was the lowest it's come in as since I think it was April. So very good stuff. And despite this positive data, you actually see the likelihood of a cut not diminishing. So right now there's a 83.1% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut for the upcoming December 10th meeting. So people's appetite for risk is very much increasing, and you can see that through cryptocurrency. So it seems to be now flirting with that 90,000 kind of pivot point right now, so Bitcoin. So again, this is a good kind of indication of people's appetite for risk, in my opinion. But aside from that, there has been no news from Lucid, no SEC filings. There was a couple of things that did come out that I wanted to share with you. One was posted by AJ, and it goes to show, I guess, the growing demand. So despite the narrative, what you see online about how like European EV sales is diminishing and just Germany, Norway, all of them are just going down. This kind of paints a different picture. So even though Lucid doesn't have the biggest foothold currently in Europe, they plan to in 2026. And a lot of that is stemming from AMP2. So they'll be able to really pump a lot of vehicles to Europe and the general area, and even more so in 2027 once the midsize really gets going. So in general, I think this is kind of a good thing. Aside from this though, there was a couple other things I wanted to share with you. One was this. So it shows like a race from the Rivian R1S comparing to the GT, Gravity GT. So it doesn't really give much explanation on kind of what is what, but it does look like the Rivian, in my interpretation, is a little bit faster. You can see that right there. But I guess ultimately the maneuverability is kind of a point towards the Gravity, and kind of cool. Actually, I should always just put, no matter where I drive, I should just put a GoPro on top of my vehicle. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, this is again another good testament of exactly what Lucid can do, even though it goes to show that Rivian clearly has good tech as well. On a side note, the only other thing I wanted to kind of share with you, is not a real good reason to buy Lucid or sell, but Lucid does have a partnership with Soundhound. So Lucid Assist is managed by and operated by Soundhound. And Soundhound just did a new partnership with Parkopedia. So it's kind of a good thing, right? This is going to be a massive business going forward. And the fact that Soundhound and Lucid have that initial partnership, I think is going to really work well for customers. And once you really start getting the midsize out and pumping a lot of vehicles out with Lucid Assist, and having access to, for instance, the Parkopedia and just a lot of other restaurants under Soundhound's umbrella, that is going to just increase the customer kind of side of purchase and sales. So let me know your general thoughts on that. Like I said, I don't think this is a crazy reason to buy Lucid, but I think it really goes to show what Lucid customers can kind of experience and that viewpoint. So aside from all that fun stuff though, shorts are increasing about 141,000 shares. 31.43% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 45.28 million shares overall being shorted. So for those of you that are wondering, why did this jump up? We are only at like 28% like yesterday. There's 2 times per month when the NASDAQ, and also in some cases as well, the New York Stock Exchange, does disclose the true amount of shares being shorted. It's always delayed. So as of November the 13th, there was 43.89 million shares overall being shorted. So that ultimately means between October the 30th and November the 13th, shorts did increase roughly around 2 million shares more than what we previously thought. And a lot of that is done through the dark pool, because dark pool is anonymous, very hard to track transactions. So yeah, kind of interesting stuff. So again, you can kind of it gives some explanation on why Lucid was being suppressed during that time period, a little bit more than what we thought. Because like I even pointed out, Lucid does experience kind of low volume. So by them increasing almost 2 million shares, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it kind of is on a side note because of Lucid's lower volume. But aside from all of that fun stuff, looking at the options, 329,000 in calls, 314,000 in puts, so kind of matches with the common stock, very low volume. 50% of all the options being done today are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see consensus for it to be roughly around 1350 and then 13 for the foreseeable future. Bears are anticipating for it to be kind of broken to that $12 range. I'm not really sure exactly why they are assuming that, but still something to just be aware of. Only one transaction on the secondary market above $100,000. It is a buy for $542,000, and this is again why I always like to bring up where the volume comes from. Today, market's very hyped up because of the data. So Lucid, most of the volume is coming from algorithmic trading. And so yeah, you're not really seeing that many institutions kind of propelling Lucid higher, aside from this one, which was done first thing. These are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool above $100,000. With it right now at 1345, it is smack dab in the middle between this R3 and this R2. So 1343 is going to be that key pivot. So it really needs to hold that. 1322 and then 1288 is going to be support levels. And if it is able to close above that 1343, then you can kind of anticipate 1378 to be that next strong target / resistance. Aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart itself, as of right now, it is above that 10-day moving average, signaling kind of momentum is building. And this is something I mentioned a few days ago, that we might have a similar type of price action to September, because during this time frame, as much as I know a lot of people like to take credit for just, hey, like, look at the chart, look at the technicals, none of this had anything to do with Lucid. All of this was algorithmic trading, really propelling off of the optimism in the broader market, pushing Lucid higher. Same type of price action might be occurring here, so just watch for ultimately the 50-day moving average, which is right now at 1891. Stochastic RSI, it's at about 51, so somewhat neutral in nature, so it's not oversold anymore. And on the actual market position, you see a lot more willing buyers. You see also at the same time a couple gaps that might need to be filled, so that could really push Lucid to around that 1521. But even looking at this right here, this is the flow, a lot of smaller transactions, and so that is a good sign that it is linked to algorithmic trading. There hasn't been any new ratings, so last one did come out on the 17th, so nothing really crazy for that. So let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you doing with Lucid? And then one final thing, pop over to my stacked account if you are looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Because of Black Friday, I did lower all the tiers, so you can get in for $10 a month. And if you get in, I will never raise the prices whatsoever, so you'll be constantly at that price. So definitely take advantage of that. A lot of them have been putting out massive bangers, and so yeah, definitely worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.